And here we are.
Here
I
we are.
am. There's
Yes, we are.
Jacinda. Do you see
Yeah,
Jacinda up there?
yes, I can. Excellent.
She's
We have a
my
big
she's
we
my
have a big
kitchen
Chloe
queen.
poster here somewhere. There she is.
Oh, congratulations, Chloe.
Yep. Yeah. So it's all happening here. This is the place to
Yeah,
be.
it really is at the moment. God, did I luck out? I really did.
Yep. So we spoke earlier this year, right when your other your There Will Be No Intermission tours started up, or was
Back
coming here.
back when things were kind of normal.
Well, yeah, so to speak. There's
Yeah.
nothing like that anymore, it seems. So that's crazy.
Normal has gone out the window.
Yes. So it's been quite a year, and of course, I don't know about you, but I have family and friends over in the States, and the election is happening, and I'm freaking out about that. So I don't know what's going to happen over
Yeah.
there. I'm just glad I'm not there. Uh,
How long
yeah.
have you been here?
Since 1994.
Oh, wow. You old school. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still crazy. I mean, even if you feel at home here, that's home and that's my
Yep.
home, and it's very frightening.
Yeah.
It's very frightening. Like, as someone who just spent a whole year on the road talking about abortion too, and fighting for access, watching what's happening right now all over the world. I mean, I don't know if you saw the news from Poland, but to watch the Supreme Court in the States right now, it almost feels like the election doesn't even matter. It just feels like long-term darkness and struggle ahead. But we'll see.
Yes.
We'll see. I have a feeling there's going to be lots of angry women marching in the street. So
Hopefully, there's just lots of angry people. It should be
yeah,
everyone should be angry about it.
it really should be everyone. But I mean, I've been saying this all year. I think women are going to be leading the charge because the alternative hasn't been working.
That's true. Absolutely right. And it seems to be working here pretty
Jacinda.
well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that
No,
you
I don't
look
think
at the
so either.
female leaders of the countries who are dealing well, and when it's people based and compassion based, and you know, not just power and money based, you get a different result.
Right.
Go figure.
And yeah. So between when we last spoke and now, lots of stuff has happened, obviously, and you're back on the road. You just did a gig in Wellington at St. Peter's Church there.
Yeah,
My daughter is like your biggest fan. She was there. So,
it was awesome. It was really good.
so how did it feel to be? Because it was kind of like that was the last time you did a show. I think was pretty much there. Although you did a couple of little house party thingies, I think, in between.
Yeah. It Everything happens in context, right? So it's not like I've spent the last few months relaxing.
Right. Yeah. I know what you mean.
I'm a single mother in a foreign country trying to put together a community of people who can help me raise this kid and get into some semblance of normal. And my schedule has been very different.
Yeah.
I have a teeny work window during the day, and then the rest of the day belongs to my son. And it's been crazy. I set aside last Monday and Tuesday, like emailed my whole team, told myself, put it in the calendar, put up notes, and I was like, Monday and Tuesday is going to be piano and ukulele rehearsal for the Wellington shows, because I am fucking rusty and I haven't really played in 7 months, and I need to really sit down and work out the material and get my head around the show and the set list. Didn't happen.
Right.
One thing led to another, and with the election coming up and fundraising and emails and texts, like Monday I was like, well, at least I have Tuesday. Tuesday came around and I was like, I guess we'll see what happens on Friday night. Let's see if I still know these songs. So Friday night was kind of like an open dress rehearsal.
Right.
I made some mistakes. It was fine. And then Saturday was, I I mean, I blew the roof off. It was a great
Good.
show. It was a great, great show. And I did my first children's show ever,
Oh, yeah?
Wellington International debut. I did it because I had my kid with me, and I was like, fuck it, let's just do a kids show because he's here, and my friends' kids were there, and it was just lovely. The promoter is also a kids musician, so we just literally got on stage and we're like, let's do Yellow Submarine, let's do Puff the Magic Dragon. What other kids songs do we know? And it was just really lovely. And everything is happening in the context of, holy shit, I get to do this.
Yeah.
And not wanting to be so overbearing with the locals, where I'm like, I'm not sure you realize how much this means given what's going on Earth.
Yeah.
I'm on the phone every day to American musicians who are like, I can't believe you're playing a show tonight. I can't believe you're playing a show tonight.
I've been Zooming people all over the States, doing interviews like that. It's just, they just can't believe what's happening here as opposed to there. It's insane.
Yeah, and it's getting weirder every passing week.
Yeah.
That this sort of stays normal.
Yeah.
And their new normal is like, oh, there are no shows. There are no tours. There are no women getting in front of a bunch of people playing ukulele and spitting and singing. Like, that's just not a thing anymore. And watching them sort of gradually, like they're just getting used to a new reality.
Yes.
That we aren't. And the divide is very weird, especially as a person who's on social media all day.
Right.
Like, it's getting strange.
Yeah.
Like, we really are on alien planets.
Yeah, because for a while it was like, oh yeah, I'm sure we'll be back doing shows soon. But lately it's been like, who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? This is my son's globe. And I just want to remind you where we are. So we're here. This is New Zealand. Yeah. And then we do this every morning. This is where Data is. And this is where Woodstock is. That's our house that we haven't seen in 13 months.
Man.
So our breakfast club.
So much for trying to plan things out in advance. I mean, stuff just happens. Let's face it.
Forget it.
Oh, man. Yeah. So it must have, did it feel good to be in front of an audience? Did you miss it?
Oh my God. Yeah. But I mean, if you know me and the Dresden Dolls, I've never been a reluctant performer.
That's true.
I love stage. And actually the best part of the weekend was, so I did a little chat for the Wellington Fringe on Thursday with a bunch of artists, and we talked about crowdfunding. And then I did those 3 shows in the church. But then on Sunday, I went to a little secret space in downtown Wellington, and I did a party for just my patrons, and there were maybe 60, 70 people there.
Nice.
And we borrowed this space that was sort of volunteered, this place called Optimal Workshop, which is built into the old Paramount Theater. They just donated the space. Everyone brought food, people brought drinks, people brought their kids. And we sat there, we mixed and mingled for a little while. People met each other. We did some fun games. And then we sat there for 2 hours and we just talked.
Yeah.
Like, I led the conversation, but we talked, and there were expats and, people from different parts of New Zealand. And that was the best. To me, that was the best. Just like getting to sit down with my community instead of having to be on stage and talk at them. I'm like, that's great. I'm good at that. I get paid to do it. I've been doing it for fucking 25 years.
Yeah.
But it's not what I need right now.
Right.
Like, what I needed was to sit down in a room of 70 Kiwis who know me because they support me with money and they've been following my blog for however long, and like talk to them and meet them and be like, holy shit. Okay. The music part was great, but like, what the fuck? And listening to people share their stories and sharing mine and talking about politics and also talking about New Zealand and America and our filter bubbles and like what we're seeing and what we aren't seeing and what we aren't learning from each other. That was the pinnacle of my weekend. It was so good. It was so
good to hear. Because I mean, when I spoke to you in March, you were a big Bernie Sanders fan, and you were talking about him, and you were all psyched up. And I mean, let's face it, everybody has gone through. Yeah, I know, it's so sad, but everybody's been going through this weird stuff that is beyond everyone's control. So, how has that affected you? I mean, how are you feeling as an artist, as a human being, as a political animal? I mean, how have you changed?
I am drawing really hard on my lifetime of Zen practice.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, really,
yeah,
like I have no control and no prediction right now.
yeah.
I have a child who's 5.
Hmm.
I'm his entire universe right now, at least until his data can get back into the country.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, here we are. You know, what's today and what's tomorrow and maybe what's next week. The rest of it, forget it.
Man.
Forget it. I'm not even going there. And you know, I've always had such a sort of a spread out approach and career that on any given day it's like, what do I do? Do I learn about how to be a better mother? Do I work on my podcast? Do I catch up on my email? Do I go actually clean the fridge? Like, I don't fucking know. I'm just going to do something.
Yeah.
Like every day I just face the attitude that I could look at every given choice as a failure or just as I'm just doing what I can. And you know, the thing that I've been thinking about most in the last couple of weeks is how little bandwidth I've had to process anything.
Right.
Like, because when you have a little kid, there are no free moments where you sort of go off on flights of philosophical, metaphorical meaning making.
Yeah.
Like, meaning is just happening the fuck at you. There's no there's no time to pontificate or write or muse about what this all fucking means.
Right.
I know I don't know what this means. I know that maybe way down the line I'll look back at this 6 months and be like, good on you, girl. Like, you didn't lose your shit. You raised a kid, you got a house, you found a car, you made some friends, you even managed to write a couple of songs and do a podcast. Like, you win.
Yeah.
But mostly I think, you know, I have never been so challenged to just let go of past and future and be in present.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Now, I got to wonder what a 5-year-old thinks of all this. I mean, is it normal? Is it like weird? I have no idea.
For him, it's normal because he's 5.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
When you're 5, you haven't fucking lost your Zen yet. When you're 5, you're just like, here we are.
Yep.
I mean, so he's happy because he's got a pinball machine that I borrowed for his birthday, and he got to eat 2 Kinder eggs on Saturday.
There you go.
He loves his school and his friends, and he loves Star Wars, and he loves his new book, and he's just like, this is fucking great.
And he's probably seeing a lot more of you than he was gonna. So there you go.
Yeah, and I mean, it's, you know, it's weird. He really misses his dad.
Yeah.
That's a constant sorrow. But, you know, he knows his dad is coming back. So it's not like his dad is dead and he has to grieve a parent.
Right.
He just lives with a little bit of, you know, constant loss that he knows that things aren't quite right because dad's not here.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's got a really reassuring parent who's like, your dad loves you and he's coming back. So it's all good, sweetie. There's nothing to be afraid of. And I got him. I spend a lot of my time just being okay so that he knows that it's okay.
Exactly.
And, and he's, you know, he's growing up Kiwi.
It could be worse.
He's been here. I mean, he's 5. He turned 5 here. And he's now been here for 7 months, which is like a vast chunk of his childhood.
Yep.
And he's got an accent, and
I love it.
And he's running around barefoot, and he loves the beach, and he loves Marmite. Like, it's just like shit happens.
I still haven't
Shit
gotten
happens.
to that. You'll be
Yeah.
surfing in no time.
I bought a wetsuit.
Oh, good on you.
I fucking bought a wetsuit. I haven't gotten into it yet, but I bought it because I met a musician in Hawke's Bay named, do you know Conan Moccasin?
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Conan told me he would teach me to surf. I'm not sure he was telling the truth, but I went out and bought a wetsuit,
Okay, go for it.
and hopefully when it's time, we'll go.
Go for it. Yes. Now you have a show coming up in Auckland, I think,
I do.
in the next few weeks or so. And you mentioned some, in passing, you've been writing a couple of songs at least. So, what can folks expect from an Amanda Palmer show? Or is it too early to tell?
No, it'll probably be right along the lines of the shows that I did in Wellington, which is like I spent all this last year just really like telling the stories around my new record and promoting the new record, but the show was 4 hours.
Yes.
And I can't handle that right now. I'm not sure anyone wants a 4 hour show right now. We're all on like 5% battery energetically.
Right.
So I just looked at my whole catalog and I was like, what do I want to play?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know what I want to play. It didn't take me very long to come up with an answer. I wanted to play the material that was like the hardest, the deepest, the most in my body, where I could just get on stage and like emit with a lot of humor too. It's going to be a very funny show because that's all I can handle right now. And it's also a really dark show. I mean, a lot of the material on the new record is very dark and soulful, but it's, sandwiched with a lot of humor. And so I'd love to be able to write a little bit of new material between now and then. There's a lot. I have a phone full of voice memos from the last 7 months of having no time to compose, but I always leave myself notes with the hopes that like when I have a day at my desk, I can actually sit down and write. But I did write one new song, I wrote it in lockdown and then I finished it up after lockdown, and it's brutal.
Oh,
and
good.
It's sort of it's like a love letter to Hawke's Bay and
cool.
to Timata Peak, which is right outside my window here.
Right.
And it's really fucking sad too. So that's me. It's a very happy, sad song.
Yep.
And that's sort of like the crown jewel of the set, because there's also like all my old New Zealand material and my Good Evening, I Might Be Staying Here Forever, Aotearoa song that I sang in Auckland last time. That'll come out of the can.
I'm sure
so
it will.
It's just going to be a very like delightful, casual, let's fucking just make some music and be happy to be together kind of show.
Cool. Because I know you did a collaboration with Rihanna Giddens a few months ago, kind of while you were in lockdown, right? So have you given any thought to doing more stuff like that?
I mean, I've been doing little collaborations constantly, especially since I started Patreon, because they actually pay money now.
Nice.
Reb Fountain is coming to Hawke's Bay Friday, and we've worked up a song together that I think we're going to do at her show. So if she's up in Auckland during my show, she might be able to guest. But yeah,
have you heard her album is amazing.
She's incredible. She's just incredible. And I've actually been trying to talk her into using patronage because she's the perfect artist for it.
Right.
She just, she would need to hop on the bandwagon, but I've been trying to teach her what I know. And I mean, the word of the day is like, none of this is allowed to be stressful. No one needs it. So like whatever happens on November 20th happens. And also I was going to add a bunch of other shows. I got an offer to do a show in Nelson and County Kerry and And I was in the midst of going like, ooh, I'm going to do all this stuff when level 2 hit again. And I was like, no, I just can't. I can't deal. So this show in Auckland is going to be it for me for a while, so I can just give my team a break and focus on my kid and just. So I have a feeling the show in Auckland, since it's the last, will be pretty intense because I will leave. I will leave
at a church
my
again,
entire
right?
soul on the stage. Yeah, it's at St. Matthew's in the city.
Right. And what is your appeal to performing in churches? Because that's where you just did in Wellington as well.
It's quite random. It's really what venue in Auckland can fit a piano.
Oh,
So, and a bunch of people.
yeah,
So it wasn't like I went church hunting.
gotcha.
Yeah,
It sounds like it's going to be quite a night. Yeah, have to get the
it
word
should
out.
be good. It
Yeah.
should be good.
Well, thank you for talking to me now. It's great to catch up
Yeah.
again. It's great to see everybody's doing
It's
all
nice
right.
to see your face too. And since this is going to be seen, I assume, by mostly Kiwis, I would encourage them to. I've got the show in Dunedin coming up, and also the show in Hawke's Bay. But I'd
Okay.
also encourage them, if they can, to get on my mailing list.
Yeah, definitely.
Because no doubt I'm going to be here for a while, and I want to be able to find people without using Facebook, without using promoters. So if they can't afford to join my Patreon, which is pretty cheap, but they just sort of want the news,
Right.
I just beg of people to like pop onto my website. And, I don't email very often, but that way, if I am touring around or doing another New Zealand project, they'll get it from me, which is good.
And of course, probably, well, by the 20th, we'll know how the election turns out in the States. So
maybe. Cross
true.
all of our fingers and toes and labia.
Man. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, I predict, I manifest, I call upon Jacinda. I predict a landslide.
Okay. All right. I like it.
And if you've seen the lines, if you've seen the 5-mile lines of people waiting in line to vote, it's looking pretty good. Like, people are done with the Orange Menace. And, maybe it took coronavirus to just get him out of office. But if so, it is what it is. But yeah, humanity cannot afford to give that man more power.
Right.
It's just not
Alrighty.
okay.
Very good. Well, I'm glad to see you're doing so well. Glad to talk to you, and I can't wait to see you on the 20th because it's going to be exciting.
There we go.